15th, Tuesday talk. Lots of faces in here in person with our residents, so we're very happy to see them in person as I see them every day. Next month, people out there in Zoom land, we will be having our Tuesday talks in person starting on April 19th. So really excited about that. Just so that you know, I will repeat this at the end of the presentation today. When you come in, you will still need to RSVP. When you come in, we will have you sign in, do a temperature check, also ask some COVID questions. If you've been vaccinated, please bring your vaccination card with you, as the kiosk will ask you for a picture. Once you do that the first time, you're good to go for the other times that you come and visit us here at Holly Hall. So I will give more information on that at the end of the presentation. So for today, our topic is healthy aging with our wellness director, Liliana Burnett. So we'll go ahead and get started. So welcome, Liliana. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We're good to see you again.
Hi, everyone. I am Liliana Burnett, and I will be doing a presentation on healthy aging. I hope you all like it, and we'll have a question and answer session at the very end. Hi, my name is Liliana Burnett. I'm the Director of Wellness here at Holly Hall Retirement Community. A little bit about me. I have a Bachelor of Science in Human Nutrition and Foods with a minor in Psychology. I'm a certified personal trainer with NASM and a certified health and wellness coach. I've worked in health and wellness over 15 years now, and I've gained some really valuable experience at various organizations such as the Harris County Health Department, Houston Independent School District, the Houstonian Club and Spa, and I worked in corporate and community wellness at Methodist Hospital and UT Physicians. I'm a proud mother of two amazing boys, 19 and 13 years old, and I'm excited about this presentation, and I think it's important because it's something we're all going to experience in our lives, and that's aging. My goal for you today is for me to shed some light on why aging occurs, what I feel are the important components of healthy aging, and identify actions that you can take to help manage your health, live as independently as possible while maintaining your quality of life as you age. Okay. So what is healthy aging? Well, healthy aging is a continuous process of optimizing opportunities to maintain and improve physical and mental health, independence, and quality of life throughout life course. Many factors influence aging. Some of these, such as genetics, they're not in our control. Others, such as what you see on this slide, such as physical activity, nutrition, social activity, sleep hygiene, preventative care, and quitting or minimizing harmful habits are within our reach. These are essentially your lifestyle choices. So today we're going to dive in and discuss how these factors affect the aging process. So some fun facts. The number of older adults in the United States is expected to grow significantly over the next several decades. In fact, while people over 65 make up about 15% of the U.S. population in 2016, they're expected to make over 21% of the population by 2040. The trend is also playing out globally, as the United Nations estimates that the amount of people over 60 will double by 2050 and triple by 2100. Global life expectancy at birth has now topped 70 years for men and 75 years for women. And the population living to 100 and older is predicted to grow nearly 3.7 million by 2050. And that's 95,000 it was in 1990, so that's huge. It's important that we fully try to understand what aging is and how to age healthfully. How and why do we age? I would love to get into all the scientific explanations because I think it's all fascinating, but for sake of time, I'm going to keep this at a higher level. What happens in our body when we age? What are the molecular and cellular mechanisms that regulate aging? And can we delay aging by targeting these processes? We're all aware of the external features that appear at old age, such as wrinkles and gray hair, but why do we age and what exactly happens inside our body when we age is much less understood. There's a lot of discussion among researchers about the mechanisms that contribute to the aging process. However, it's widely accepted that damage to the genetic material, cells and tissues that accumulate with age and can't be repaired by the body are causal factors for the functional decline associated with old age. But what causes this damage on the molecular level and why it can be repaired in young but not old organisms is much less clear. To better characterize the aging process, scientists have started to identify and characterize the cellular and molecular hallmarks of aging. These 9 hallmarks of aging are generally considered to contribute to the aging process, and together, the observable characteristics of aging. A corresponding process is considered a hallmark of aging. If its deterioration causes premature aging, while its improvement ameliorates health during aging and extends lifespan. The proposed 9 hallmarks of aging are grouped into these 3 categories. In the top, those hallmarks considered to be the primary causes of cellular damage. In the middle, those are considered to be part of the compensatory responses to the damage. These responses initially mitigate the damage, but eventually, if chronic or exacerbated, they become harmful themselves. And then the last bottom, these are integrative hallmarks that the end result of the previous 2 groups of hallmarks and ultimately responsible for the functional declines associated with aging. Genomic instability, we're going to go with that one first. The increased tendency for DNA mutations or changes and other genetic changes to occur during cell division. Genomic instability is caused by defects in certain processes that control the way cells divide. It has been estimated that the DNA in every single cell of our body is damaged up to 1 million times a day. Fortunately, our DNA also contains the information for several processes that can detect and repair such damage. Therefore, our cells have a self-repairing capacity of the genome. The problem is that these repair processes aren't perfect. Although our cells can repair most DNA damage events, a subset of DNA lesions are not properly repaired and are instead fixed as mutations in our genome. These mutations, which can impair all aspects of the cell's function, accumulate over time, particularly as we get older. People who have impaired repair process of the genome often show signs of accelerated aging. DNA damage also contributes to the development of cancer. Telomere attrition. One particular type of genomic instability is the shortening of our telomeres. Telomeres are at the ends of the chromosomes in human genome. They're comparable to, say, the sealed end of a shoelace, and they keep our chromosomes stable. With each cell division, a piece of the telomeres is lost, so that the chromosome ends shorten more and more as we get older. When a certain minimum length is reached, the cell becomes inactive and no longer divides. Such cells can then die or even cause inflammation, speeding up the aging process, triggering diseases, and dwindling populations of cells and vital organs. Epigenetic alterations. These are the changes to gene expression that our cells experience as we get older. These alterations harm the fundamental functions of our cells and can increase the risk of cancer and other age-related diseases. What's happening is that some of the chemical changes are misplaced, adding in the wrong place, or lost. As a result, the control over gene activity also changes, and these changes accumulate over time. This results in the decline of the aging cells. Our epigenome is influenced by our diet and lifestyle, but chronic stress and certain drugs can also cause these changes. Loss of proteostasis. So this is where the DNA of our cells contains the instructions for all cellular functions, but it's not the DNA itself that carries these functions. Instead, our DNA contains the information for the production of proteins and enzymes that take over tasks and control processes within the cell. Proteins and enzymes control all chemical reactions in the cells and also give the cells its structure. In order to carry out these functions, proteins must be folded precisely into very specific structure, similar to origami. The term protein homeostasis, or proteostasis for short, describes the maintenance of the form and abundance of all proteins. With age, proteins are increasingly damaged due to the normal cellular processes, which also influences their shape and folding. Not only can misfolded proteins no longer perform their normal work, but they also tend to clump together, which can have toxic effects on the cell. Alzheimer's disease, for example, is an age-related disease caused by misfolded proteins. So basically, stress causes the unfolded proteins, Unfolded proteins are usually refolded back by heat shock proteins, HSP, or targeted to destruction. Failure to refold or degrade unfolded proteins can lead to their accumulation and aggregation, resulting in proteotoxic effects. Deregulated nutrient sensing. When sufficient nutrients are available, cells and tissues store energy and grow, whereas when nutrients are deficient, mechanisms for homeostasis and repair are activated. This behavior has become established in the course of evolution and may be associated with slowing down the aging process. When cells are constantly exposed to excess nutrients, as in the case with diabetes and obesity, the cellular mechanisms that recognize nutrients become desensitized. This process also occurs during aging and causes cells to fail to respond properly to the signals that normally regulate energy production, cell growth, and other important cellular functions. The main overarching nutrient sensing dysfunction that emerges during human aging is insulin resistance. With age, factors such as oxidative stress, inflammation, disruption of enzymatic activity, and accumulation of fatty acids within the cells can all contribute to a reduction in insulin sensitivity. Cells do not react as well to insulin as they should. Mitochondrial dysfunction. To maintain all cellular processes and chemical reactions, the cells need energy. The cellular energy production takes place in the mitochondria. Mitochondria are small components within the cell, also known as the powerhouses of the cell. They're essential for the production of energy by utilizing the oxygen we breathe. However, these processes sometimes produce free radicals, so-called reactive oxygen species, ROS. These are conflicting studies, they're conflicting studies whether or not having enough ROS or having too much of the ROS would have beneficial effects on the aging process. But what they have concluded is that ROS in general it's an important function in signaling cellular stress. Cells, organs, and tissues that perceive stress increase their maintenance and repair processes in response to it. For healthy aging, the amount of ROS must therefore be just right, not too much or not too little. Mitochondrial dysfunction can generally affect important cellular signaling pathways and processes. Eventually, the cell becomes less efficient at producing energy, and at the same time, the level of oxidative stress increases, leading to damage to the other cellular components. As a result, mitochondrial dysfunction contributes to several age-related diseases, such as myopathies and neuropathies. Cellular senescence. Cells divide to make an organism grow or to replace old cells in a particular tissue or organ. But at some point, this capacity is lost. The vast majority of cells cannot divide infinitely. Cells that have entered a permanent non-dividing state are called senescent cells. However, these cells don't die. Instead, some of them release harmful molecules into their environment, which can negatively influence other cells. Stem cell exhaustion. So it's essential for the health of our body that tissues and organs can renew old cells and repair damage. The ability of our body to renew parts of tissues and organs is based on stem cells, which are present in almost every tissue. Stem cells are the ultimate source of new cells, as they can theoretically divide indefinitely and produce new cells. Healthy stem cells must be able to divide when the body or a specific tissue needs new cells, but only then and not without control. The ability of the stem cells to divide and the ability to divide only when new cells are needed decreases with age. In the worst case, the unstopped division of cells can lead to cancer. And finally, the last hallmark of aging is altered intracellular communication. The cells of our body communicate with each other, and maintained cell-to-cell communication is crucial for our health and also influences our aging process. Cells can use different types of communication. If they are directly next to each other, they can communicate via their physical connection. By releasing certain molecules, however, it's also possible to reach cells that are not in the immediate vicinity. By secreting hormones into the bloodstream, it's even possible to reach recipients located in completely different regions of the body, and different organs can communicate with each other in this way. One of the most prominent and important changes in intracellular signaling that occurs with age is an increase in continuous background inflammation signaling. Inflammation plays a role in almost all chronic diseases of aging, including cancer, neurodegenerative diseases, and diabetes. It's therefore not hard to see why an increase in inflammation signaling is considered to be the hallmark of this aging process. Inflammation is an important process that works in tandem with our immune system to protect us against foreign invaders. Inflammation occurs in response to molecules the body doesn't recognize and in response to damage. It helps white blood cells gain access to our tissues, supports their function, and impedes the process of pathogens. However, inflammation also damages our tissues and must therefore be tightly controlled. A variety of molecules called inflammatory mediators, produced mainly by white cells but also by regular cells, are responsible for stimulating the inflammatory response. Even in young, healthy individuals, low levels of these inflammatory signals can be found in the blood, but this background inflammation increases with age. This increase is often referred to inflammaging. So, those are the 9 hallmarks of aging, and I think it's a good foundation for how and why we age. So let's go back to the components of healthy aging and start with social activity, which fosters good emotional health. When you're a baby, socialization helps you develop who you are, and as parents, we encourage socialization for our children to instill a lifelong virtue of goodwill and connection. Socialization is even recommended for pets. As older adults continue to enjoy life, it remains important that seniors have a social life to help maintain a healthy physical and emotional balance. Studies show that seniors who stay socially active and engaged experience a variety of benefits, including better cognitive function. It could boost your brain health and lower your risk of dementia or Alzheimer's disease. Social activities just help us keep us sharp and mentally engaged. Social isolation is one of the leading causes of depression in seniors. Loneliness can easily take its toll on individuals of every age, but there's a greater concern for older adults as routines and independence changes. Socialization can have a positive effect where isolation is concerned by helping seniors feel loved and needed. Lives can be affirmed by the activities and interactions. Being around other people or doing something fun or rewarding helps individuals keep a positive outlook on life and a healthy mental state by boosting your mood and improve your overall well-being. Ways to promote social activities. So during the pandemic, we had a whole appreciation for online communication. Keep utilizing it. It helps seniors, with technology such as FaceTime and Zoom. Technology today allows us to be in constant contact with our family and friends, whether near or far. And not only can we hear them, but we can also see them and experience the environment that surrounds them. There are online games. In addition to phone calls, chat rooms, and email messages, there's dozens of games to play online with others. Group activities, book clubs, wine tasting, cooking classes are good social activities in person or virtual. All of these offer learning and social interaction that can help us keep our minds sharp. Exercise classes, also good ways to socialize. They should be encouraged as they include a social element and they're a great way to keep your mind active. As we ease back into normalcy post-pandemic, seniors can stay socially engaged, ensuring healthy longevity. Enroll in a class, join others for outdoor activities, get some fresh air, get involved or volunteer with local organizations, follow your passion. Do something you love, but do it with others. Knitting, crafting, woodworking, or painting. Put together a group of people who share your interests and do it together from a distance. We don't want to lose social capital as we age. Being a social senior clearly has long-term benefits. Make an effort to stay in touch with family, friends, neighbors, and colleagues. Connect socially with others, whether in person or remotely, via the many different virtual tools available today. Physical activity. So as an older adult, regular physical activity is one of the most important things you can do for healthy aging, preventing or mitigating falls, pain, sarcopenia, osteoporosis, and cognitive impairment. It can prevent many of the health problems that seem to come with age. It also helps your muscles grow stronger so you can keep doing your day-to-day activities without becoming dependent on others. A well-balanced program includes daily aerobic exercise, strength training, balance, stretching, and/or flexibility components. Unfortunately, most older adults do not meet the weekly recommended minutes of regular physical activity. In fact, more than 60% of U.S. adults don't engage in the recommended amount of activity, and approximately 25% of U.S. adults aren't active at all, per the CDC. Regular exercise helps you age more slowly and live healthier, more vigorous, longer lives. You need to engage in light to moderate physical exercise daily to negate prolonged sitting, and your physical activity doesn't have to be strenuous to achieve those health benefits. Calculations based on the Harvard alumni study suggest that men who exercise regularly can gain about 2 hours of life expectancy for each hour of exercise. Unfortunately, the reality is much of what we consider aging is really inactivity, and it's hard to separate the two. But one of the things that usually happens with people who are inactive and also with aging is a reduction in muscle mass, muscle strength, aerobic capacity, flexibility, bone density, and balance, with an increase in fat mass, glucose intolerance, depression, sleep problems, and an increased risk for cardiovascular diseases, etc. Now, speaking of sarcopenia, as I stated in my previous slide, I want to further elaborate on this reduction of muscle mass and why it's a huge problem as we age if we're not physically active. Sarcopenia is the loss of muscle mass specifically related to aging. While some sarcopenias are a consequence of aging and normal, others are preventable. So studies show sarcopenia can be reversed and muscle loss decreased. A healthy diet and a reasonable exercise program can reverse a sarcopenia, which increases lifespan and improves quality of life. So I want to show you this quick 5-minute video on sarcopenia because, again, many of these components of healthy aging are lifestyle, and this will really kind of highlight the importance of making sure that you have that daily physical activity.
Our muscles play a major role in our bodies, from allowing us to move, maintaining our posture, and stabilizing our joints. But starting as early as age 30, we all begin to gradually lose muscle mass and strength. Some of us lose it more quickly because of a serious condition called sarcopenia, which becomes more common with age, affecting 10 to 20% of older adults. It can lead to disability, loss of independence, more frequent hospitalizations, the need for long-term care, and even death. So why have you never heard of it? In large part, we tend to believe that our hearing, vision, and ability to move easily will naturally decline as we age. The accelerated loss of muscle mass and strength that results from sarcopenia doesn't have to be inevitable, but it has been overlooked and undertreated. Many older adults don't realize that their difficulty climbing the stairs or getting out of their chair may be due to sarcopenia. The good news is that in recent years, scientists and healthcare providers have made major progress in understanding how the condition works, how to diagnose it, and how best to treat it. So what causes sarcopenia? It's not always clear what causes sarcopenia. Many things can contribute to the development of sarcopenia. Age-related changes in the body that we all experience to some degree can contribute. This can include lower levels of certain hormones, declines in the body's ability to turn protein into muscle, increased inflammation, interference with the signals between the brain and the muscles, and other cellular changes. Environmental and lifestyle changes can also contribute to the development of sarcopenia, such as inactivity and lack of exercise, prolonged bed rest, loss of mobility, poor nutrition, dental and oral problems, and obesity. It's important to note that even overweight or obese individuals and those that are physically active can be at risk for sarcopenia. Chronic diseases can also contribute to sarcopenia. These diseases can cause some of the cellular changes that lead to sarcopenia, or they may interfere with a person's ability to eat a healthy diet and get needed exercise. How serious is sarcopenia? Loss of muscle mass can affect you in many ways. Besides obviously making you weaker, it can also affect your balance and ability to walk, weaken your bones and make you frail, increase fatigue, heighten your risk of disease, and worsen existing conditions, cause weight gain, raise the risk of malnutrition, and more. These can all lead to difficulty getting around, trouble performing normal daily activities, falls and bone fractures, increased disability, diminished quality of life, loss of independence, more and longer hospital visits, higher risk of post-surgical complications and lower rates of survival, and eventually the need for long-term care and institutionalization. It's also an expensive condition, increasing individual healthcare costs by more than $2,300 a year for every person with sarcopenia. This doesn't begin to include the costs that come with loss of independence, increased illness, and difficulty with everyday functioning. How do you know if you have it? If you are age 65 or older, your healthcare provider should be watching for sarcopenia. Your provider may use questionnaires to assess your risk for sarcopenia that ask you things like if you ever need to rest because of lack of strength, if your walking speed has slowed, if you have difficulty rising from chairs or climbing stairs, and if you have fallen. They may use non-invasive tests to measure your muscle mass, strength, and performance, or to potentially find the cause of sarcopenia. How is sarcopenia treated? There are a number of potential treatments under development that could interfere with the cellular changes that lead to sarcopenia, or that address muscle function or fatigue from sarcopenia. There are also treatments that can help with some potential underlying causes of sarcopenia, like malnutrition, cancer, and gastrointestinal disorders. Scientists have also found that exercise and nutritional interventions that deliver healthy diets or nutritional supplements with key nutrients for muscle health can slow the declines from sarcopenia, improve physical performance, and prevent future loss. Preventing sarcopenia can help you maintain function and avoid frailty. So if you're over the age of 65 or think you may be at risk, make sure your healthcare professional is talking to you about sarcopenia and discuss any symptoms or risk factors you or a loved one may have. True strength comes from taking charge of your health.
So now you see what the importance of daily physical activity is, especially for your muscle mass. The guidelines for adults ages 18 to 64 years of age for physical activity is as follows. The American Heart Association recommends at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity a week. You could break it up how you'd like, but ideally it's best to spread it out over 5 days. You should also incorporate at least 2 days of muscle strengthening activities a week. Minimize the amount of time you spend sitting for extended periods of time. Older adults, 65 years or older, should also follow these recommendations when possible. They should move more and sit less throughout the day. Keep in mind that some physical activity is better than none. If you can get 30 minutes a day, that's okay. Every little bit counts. Older adults who sit less and do any amount of activity gain health benefits. So your health benefits will also increase the more physical activity you do. In the line graph on the right, you'll see that with just 10 minutes of exercise, it reduced the deaths due to heart disease by 100,000 people by 47% compared to not exercising at all. Older adults with chronic conditions should understand whether and how their conditions affect their ability to do regular physical activities safely. As anything, you should always consult your doctor before starting an exercise program. In addition to the benefits you see on the slide, regular exercise increases the amount of energy you burn while you're exercising. It also boosts your resting energy expenditure, which is the rate at which you burn calories when the workout is over and you're resting. So it can help prevent excess weight gain and help maintain weight loss. Obviously, the more intense the activity, the more calories you're going to burn. Again, you don't need to spend hours exercising to reap the benefits. And if you can't do an actual workout, get more active throughout the day in simple ways by taking the stairs instead of the elevator or increasing your household chores. Fun. Okay, so nutrition. One of the easiest ways to maintain your health and well-being is by eating well or eating healthy. People who don't have the time or take the effort for healthy eating, you're more likely to have health problems. Studies have demonstrated that 70 to 80% of staying healthy is all about the right food at the right time. Aim for balance, variety, choose whole foods. Your body needs a variety of nutrients to function at its best. It includes carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals. A healthy diet offers a balance of these nutrients. Each day, try to consume a combination of a variety of fruits and vegetables, choose whole grains, a variety of proteins, low-fat dairy, plant oils such as grapeseed oil and olive oil are best. Staying hydrated is also an important part of a healthy diet, and be mindful that your sense of thirst diminishes as you age. And so you may not be thirsty, but be dehydrated. Cut down or limit your consumption of highly processed foods, saturated fats, sugars, and salt. Get rid of temptation. You're the gatekeeper of your food pantry, so select healthy food choices when shopping at the grocery store. Plan snacks and meals ahead of time. By knowing what you're going to eat, you eliminate that spontaneity and uncertainty. It's also a good idea to understand your body type and your nutritional needs. This will help you create a balance between healthy foods and the foods you like indulging in. Set yourself up for success. Keep it simple. Eating healthy doesn't have to be complicated. Focus on how you feel after you're eating. This will help foster new habits and tastes. The healthier food you eat, the better you're going to feel after a meal. The more junk food you eat, the more likely you're going to feel uncomfortable, nauseous, or drained of energy. So really pay attention to that. Eat in moderation, which means eating only as much food as your body needs. You should feel satisfied at the end of the meal, not stuffed. Think smaller portions. Restaurant serving sizes have ballooned. So when dining out, try to, have an appetizer instead of an entree, or split a dish with a friend. Or as soon as you get your meal, take half of it and put it in a to-go box. And don't supersize anything. I don't even know why that exists. Take your time. It's important to slow down and think about the food as nourishment rather than just something to gulp down between meetings or when you're running errands. It takes a few minutes for your brain to tell your body that it has enough food. So eat slowly and stop before you get full. Eat with others when possible. Eating alone, especially in front of the TV or computer, just leads to overeating, mindless overeating. Limit snack foods in the home. So be careful about the foods you keep on hand. It's more challenging to eat in moderation if you have unhealthy snacks and treats at the ready. Instead, surround yourself with healthy choices, and when you're ready to reward yourself with a special treat, go out and get it. Control that emotional eating. We don't always just eat to satisfy hunger. Many of us turn to food to relieve stress or cope with unpleasant emotions such as sadness, loneliness, boredom. But learning healthier ways to manage the stress and emotions, you can regain control of the food you eat and your feelings. It's not just about what you eat, but when you eat it. And then eat breakfast and smaller meals throughout the day. A healthy breakfast can jumpstart your metabolism, while eating small and healthy meals just keeps your energy up all day and avoids that sugar level spike. Avoid eating late at night. Try to eat dinner earlier and fast for 14 to 16 hours until breakfast the next morning. Studies suggest that only eating when you're most active and giving your digestive system a long break each day can help regulate that weight. So I want to point out that although eating smaller meals throughout the day is good for regulating sugar levels, on the flip side, intermittent fasting is becoming more popular as numerous studies continue to illustrate its many benefits. Although there isn't concrete evidence that calorie restriction prolongs human lifespan, there's good data that supports the idea that limiting calories reduces the risks of diseases common in old age, and it lengthens that period of life spent in good health. Eating well can prevent many health problems as you age, such as heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and obesity. And it also keeps the conditions from getting worse. For individuals aging with disability, it's important to maintain a healthy diet so that it supports any medications that you may be taking. Talk to your doctor, your registered dietitian, or nutritionist before making any major changes to your diet, obviously. Sleep hygiene. So aging is tied to sleep difficulties, and poor sleep can contribute to many health problems, reducing the quality of life in people over age 65. Since almost 1/3 of our lives are spent sleeping, reviewing the relationship between aging and sleep is a fundamental part of promoting overall health and well-being in the elderly. Why does aging affect sleep? Well, changes in the body's internal clock, which control the circadian rhythms. Your circadian rhythms are controlled by a master clock in the part of a brain called the hypothalamus, which are composed of about 20,000 cells.
Over time, as people age, these cells deteriorate in function and disrupt circadian rhythms, directly influencing when people feel tired and alert. Interestingly, these cells receive information from the eyes, and light is one of the most powerful cues to maintain those circadian rhythms. Unfortunately, research shows that many older people have insufficient exposure to daylight, averaging about 1 hour a day. Changes in production of hormones such as melatonin and cortisol. As people age, the body secretes less melatonin, which is normally produced in response to darkness, that helps promote sleep by coordinating circadian rhythms. Mental and physical health conditions. Conditions that commonly affect sleep in older people include depression, anxiety, heart disease, diabetes, and conditions that cause discomfort, such as pain, such as arthritis. Many older adults are diagnosed with one or more health conditions, and those with multiple health conditions were more likely to report getting less than 6 hours of sleep, having poor sleep quality, and experience symptoms of sleep disorder. Medication side effects. Almost 40% of adults over age 65 take 5 or more medications. Many over-the-counter and prescription drugs can contribute to sleep issues. The interactions of multiple medications may cause unanticipated effects on your sleep. And then there's lifestyle changes. Poor sleep quality in seniors can be related to lifestyle changes that often come with aging. For example, retirement leads to less working outside the home and possibly more napping and less of a structured sleep schedule. Other significant life changes, such as loss of independence or social isolation, can also increase stress and anxiety, which also contribute to sleep issues. It's important to note that aging affects people differently. While some older adults may have no significant disruptions in their sleep, others complain about getting less sleep or having worse sleep quality. Sleep disturbances include shifting sleep schedule, waking up at night, daytime napping, longer recovery from changes in sleep schedule. Research estimates that between 40 and 70% of older adults have chronic sleep issues, and up to half of the cases may be undiagnosed. Chronic sleep problems can significantly interfere with the older adult's daily activities and reduce their quality of life. Common sleep issues in older adults include pain, nighttime urination, insomnia, daytime drowsiness, sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome, REM, sleep behavior disorder. As per the National Sleep Foundation, adults 24 to 64 years need about 7 to 9 hours of sleep, and older adults 65 plus need about 7 to 8 hours of sleep. So what can we do to have some good sleep hygiene? Try and wake up and go to sleep at the same time. Establish a nighttime routine. Limit your caffeine intake. Exercise. It helps you sleep, and sleep gives your body time to recover, conserve energy, and repair the muscles work during exercise. Reduce your stress levels. Avoid large fatty meals prior to sleeping. They're harder to digest and more likely will cause heartburn, which may interfere with your sleep. Turn off electronics an hour before bed or 2 hours before bed. The blue light that's emitted from these screens messes with your body's ability to prepare for sleep because it blocks the melatonin, which is the hormone that makes you sleepy. And create a healthy sleep environment. The right lighting, temperature, white noise. If you need something like me, I can't sleep when it's quiet. I need my white noise. Preventative care. So going to the doctor for regular health screenings is essential for healthy aging. A study in 2021 found that getting regular checkups helps the doctor catch chronic diseases early, and it helps patients reduce risk factors for disease, such as high blood pressure and cholesterol levels. People who went to the doctor regularly also reported improved quality of life and feelings of wellness. In recent years, scientists have developed an improved laboratory imaging, similar biological tests that uncover and monitor signs of age-related disease. So harmful changes in the cells and molecules of your body may occur years before you start to experience any of these symptoms of the disease. These tests can detect these changes, and they can help medical professionals diagnose and treat disease early, improving health outcomes. What can you do? KYN, know your numbers. If you're over 30 years, you should have already established a baseline of your lipid profile, blood pressure, glucose, weight, etc. So you know what your norm is. Visit the doctor at least yearly, and possibly more when depending on your health. And then regular screenings can uncover diseases and conditions you may not yet be aware of, such as diabetes, cancer, cardiovascular disease. Uncovering diseases and conditions in its earliest stages would yield healthier outcomes since it's when it's most treatable. And then I always say that if it doesn't feel right, there's probably a reason for that. And it's usually has to do with your health. So go get it checked out. Quit or minimize harmful habits. So, hold on a second. Tobacco smoke contains thousands of toxic chemicals that can damage the cells of your skin and can lead to signs of premature aging. Smoking can cause deeper wrinkles on the face, particularly between the eyebrows, around the eyes, and around your mouth and lips. If you smoke, quit. Not only is smoking extremely harmful for your health, but quitting may add years to your life. One study of nearly 200,000 people demonstrated that older adults who quit smoking between the ages of 45 and 54 lived about 6 years longer compared to those who continued to smoke. And those who quit between the ages of 55 and 64 lived about 4 years longer. It's never too late to quit. It's never too late to stop smoking, and you're going to reap the benefits of breathing easier, having more energy, saving money, and improving your health. Quitting also lowers your risk of cancer, heart disease, lung disease, heart attack, improves your blood circulation, your sense of taste and smell, and your ability to exercise. Alcohol and other substances. If you consume alcohol, like all adults, older adults should consume in moderation. Aging can lead to social and physical changes that make older adults a little bit more susceptible to alcohol misuse and abuse and more vulnerable to the consequences of alcohol. Alcohol dependence or heavy drinking affects every organ in the body, including the brain. A study from the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism showed that alcohol consumption among older adults, especially women, is on the rise. The research also found evidence that certain brain regions show signs of premature aging in alcohol-dependent men and women. My nose is itching, I'm sorry. Heavy drinking for extended periods of time in older adults may contribute to also poor heart health. These studies suggest that stopping or limiting the use of alcohol can improve heart health and prevent the accelerated aging seen with heavy alcohol use. In addition to being cautious with alcohol, older adults and caregivers should also be aware of other substances that can be misused or abused. Because older adults are commonly prescribed medications for pain, anxiety, or if they have trouble sleeping, they may be at risk for misuse or dependence on these substances. Medication dependence and overload. So every day, 750 older people living in the United States, ages 65 and older, are hospitalized due to serious side effects from one or more medications. The prescribing of multiple medications to individual patients has reached epidemic proportions. More than 4 in 10 older adults take 5 or more prescription medications a day, tripling over the past 2 decades. Nearly 20% take 10 or more drugs a day. So the boundaries between prescribed use, overuse, self-medication, excessive use, dependency, or addiction to prescription drugs are blurred in older people. Make sure to do a medication review with your doctor or your pharmacist. Talk about your medicines at least once a year. Get a check and check out if they're still right for you. Protect your skin from the sun, UV and UV rays. Exposure to UV rays can cause premature aging of the skin and signs of sun damage such as wrinkles, leathery skin, liver spots, etc. UV rays can also cause eye problems. They can cause the cornea or the front of the eye to become inflamed or burned. In our advanced years, our skin loses fat and water content and becomes thinner, so it allows UV light to penetrate more deeply. Each year in the United States, more than 5 million people are treated for skin cancer, and its cost is about $8.1 billion. As we age, the risk of developing skin cancer increases. According to the Skin Cancer Foundation, over half of skin cancer deaths are adults over the age of 65, because older adults are also living longer. It's important to prevent sun damage. So during the summer months, UV rays increase in strength. So apply sunscreen. Before going outside, apply your sunscreen with broad spectrum protection and sun protection factor SPF of at least 30. This will protect your skin against sunburn, and the broad spectrum protects and defends against all types of sun rays. Reapply every 2 hours for best protection. Wear protective clothing. Clothing and accessories can offer protection against the sun. Wide-brimmed hats and sunglasses shield your face. And then when you spend time outside, make sure to find the shade if you can, or under a tree or covered porch. Minimize that direct sun exposure from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's when the sun is strongest. And I thought this was interesting. This is a week's worth of medication for a 92-year-old patient on the left. And after she got her medication reevaluated, it turns out that she didn't need to take as medications as she was. So before I conclude my presentation, I wanted to mention this great read since we're on the topic of healthy aging. And I want you all to think for a moment about everything I went over. I'd like to sum it all up in one word: longevity. Not only to live a long life, but to live it healthy and well. Experts say that longevity is 30% genetics, which you have no control over, and 70% environmental and lifestyle choices, which you do have control over, and many of which we discussed today. Researchers estimate that in the U.S. today, the average adult life expectancy is over 70 years of age, but that's likely to drop due to high rates of chronic diseases, many of which are preventable with simple lifestyle changes. So this book titled Blue Zones, written by Dan Buettner, is about his journey to find the world's longest lived people, study them, and take lessons learned from these populations to spread them within the U.S. borders and beyond. He concluded that there are pockets of people around the world with the highest life expectancy or with the largest number of people to reach the age of 100. These researchers observed that people living in the blue zones share several common behavioral and lifestyle characteristics, despite being from different areas of the world and different races and nationalities and religions. They reported that these people had strong family coherence. So there's that social aspect of healthy aging, avoidance of smoking, getting rid of those harmful habits. They had plant-based diets. That's a reminder that nutrition is very important in living longer. What you eat, you are what you eat. Moderate and daily physical activity, of course, and social engagement, where people of all ages are socially active and integrated into the community. He found 5 places that meet that criteria. One is in Sardinia, that's Italy. It's a small island off the coast of Italy. The second place is Icaria, Greece. Okinawa, Japan is another one. Nicoya, Costa Rica. And there's one in the United States, Loma Linda, California. So I highly recommend this book if you have some spare reading time. I love it. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll take any questions now.
Any questions?
Can we get printouts of some of those lists?
Yeah, sure. I could get that. I could put that in your
I
mailbox.
couldn't read the smaller print.
Oh, the slides.
Well, the slides.
Yeah.
With the
Yes.
writing on it.
Yes. Oh, it will. That's right. Okay. It'll also be online. Also, it's going to be on, but I'll get you copies.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's like if we need to do that, we can put a link to where y'all can print it off online, but here we can just print it off for you.
Yeah, the whole video will be on.
Okay. Yeah, we can just do like a PDF of those things
Yeah.
that we can put on there.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of information. I didn't say it this time, but I'm
Very well presented.
well. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I just put
A
a
lot of work
chat.
to prepare for that.
Yes, but I love to learn about all that.
Some of it we need, but there was a lot of information on cellular.
Right.
damage.
Yeah, the hallmarks of aging. That was very interesting. Sort of
And
the
what- Say that word again, Sarcopenia.
sarcopenia. Sarcopenia.
I've never heard that word.
Really?
Mhm.
It looks like Miss Juanita might have a question. Maybe.
My question is,
Do you unmute her?
Yeah, she's unmuted.
Okay.
To ask her some shit.
Okay. Ma,
Uh-huh.
can you hear
Does
me?
anyone have a question online? Just put it in the chat. I know, but
Okay.
I can't hear.
Can she hear me?
Did she type
Can
it
you
in?
type it in the?
Just want to read it?
Does the onset of Alzheimer's affect one's ability to walk or
We
do-
can't hear you. If you could type it in the chat, because we're not able to hear your question.
I read an article the other day. I just kind of skimmed over it.
Oh, here you go. Does the onset of dementia affect the way people walk?
Does the onset of dementia affect the way people walk?
I honestly am not sure about that. I mean, the onset of dementia can come from a lot of things, inflammation, what I talked about in the hallmarks of aging. So that can surely affect balance. That's kind of one of the first things that happen when you're affected through the, but I don't know that the dementia part, I'm not sure about that, to be honest with you.
I read an article that said eating slower can reduce calories as your intake. I don't know how true that is.
Eating slower?
Eating slower, rather, because as you said, if you eat slower, it takes your mind longer to.
Well, yeah, you're just not going to overeat because you're actually digesting and again, it takes a while for your mind to tell you that you're full and that you're satiated. So yes, definitely. You're gonna take less calories in. So.
Order smaller portions.
Yes.
I find that if there's something in front of me, I will eat it.
Yeah. So think of it as eating is like your body has to digest the food that you're eating. So the more you eat and the more stuff that has to be broken down, the more you're going to wear and tear your body, which is why, smaller portions and fasting is becoming extremely popular now because research is finding out that fasting is actually, it's a good thing for your body not to have to digest so much so often because it wears and tears your body. So there's a lot of studies on that. And there's a lot of studies on particularly mice and monkeys and animals about it extending their lives, not so much human. They haven't done a lot of human studies yet, but what they do know is that it does help prevent the age-related diseases by doing that a little bit of the intermittent fasting. So I actually could do a presentation on that because that's fascinating to me all in itself, the intermittent fasting and all that. So.
But wouldn't some people, if they did that, if they don't have that self-control to still do that intermittent fasting, if they break down one day and just start eating everything in sight and just kind of ruin what you did?
And there's many ways to do it. Like you could just not have, you could delay the breakfast and then eat later in the day, or just stop right at dinner, 5 o'clock, and not eat until the next morning. There's different intermittent fastings as well. 8 hour, 15 hours of, fasting, and then just eat in the 8-hour window that you have during the day. There's different ways. And you should always consult your physician, of course, because medications and all that have a effect as well. So you shouldn't just start doing it. You should definitely consult your physician and, find out what's right for you, depending on what you're taking, your medication, your health conditions and all that. So.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all for coming. I appreciate that.
All right, thank you, Liliana. That was very interesting. I eat half of my meal. I've been doing that for 12 years, 15 years. Everyone's different. I lost 55 pounds about 15 years ago. And the way I started was eating half of my food. I would go out to dinner, I'd look at my food, cut it in half, eat half, and I would just push the plate away until I got my little to-go box. It's a mind thing. You're changing your lifestyle. I still do that. Sometimes my eyes get bigger than my stomach, of course. But now I know exactly what I can and cannot eat and how much I can eat. So this kind of just made me feel good, knowing that I was doing the right thing. I never ate past 6 o'clock. I cut out sodas, fast food, junk food for 5 years. So it's hard to do, but if you have the drive to do it, it's never too late. So wish everyone luck on that. And exercise too. You got to exercise. So thank you again, Liliana. Thank you, Hakeem, for being here. As I said, next month, April 19th, we are going to be in person. So I'm super excited about that. The next talk is Space City Weather with Matt Lanza. So he is going to be discussing, mostly discussion focused on the upcoming 2022 hurricane season. Here we go again, right? He will also comment on some thoughts about Houston's flooding issues and the rainfall here. So we all know how Houston floods. So should be a very interesting topic. Again, I'm excited for next month that everybody will be in person. We will send out a Zoom link just in case you're still not comfortable coming into a big group. So we will be able to do that as well. But we hope that you will plan to join us in person so that we can put a face to the name and actually be in 3D. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. And thank you out there in Zoom land. And we will see y'all next month.